Oh my goodness, look, it's everyone in the mansion.
Living.
Celebrating.
Living.
Enjoying themselves.
Alive.
Alive.
In the world.
Celebrating.
Yeah. The discussions over Ben Castle's reasoning game were getting passionate at each of the tables. At some point, each table would start competing to see which could solve it first.
I think we won.
Which would only work once. We did, but that competition would only work once, because then once one table knows the mystery, then they can't do it again.
Is that true? Or
Unless
did
they can
George
reset their
murder someone
memories.
before the game?
Oh shit! Who knows?
The thing I love about
Anything's
Erica's
possible in the
argument in
cat box,
that
yeah?
case is that Erica could basically say everyone murdered someone before the game.
Oh, absolutely.
All of this is lies.
Absolutely.
It's so brilliant.
Well, this is the whole thing about the red truth, is that it can be very easily worked around, surprisingly enough.
Right?
It's maybe not as firm as we were led to believe.
It's almost like you shouldn't just take it at face value.
Maybe. It's almost like this is all a work of fiction of some sort.
That's pushing it too far. Man.
Shocking. The shocking, scathing commentary. Child of man.
Burncastle, haven't Angie and Eric arrived yet?
They should have been here by now. Want to make a bet on who arrives first?
I can understand Erica being late, but what about Angie? Just what kind of pit did you toss her into this time?
How rude. She's sitting on a sofa sipping tea. Hopefully the sort of tea you drink suits Angie's taste.
Good point.
How rude. That tea would suit anyone's taste. Erica would even lick the last drop of my tea from the bottom of a miso pot.
Now part of me is dying to ask how miso comes into this picture.
It's not just soup. Anyway, still, it's Erica. This will be a long-awaited reunion.
That's right, come to think of it. I can't wait to see how long it'll take her to solve Burncastle's game.
This sort of game is what that kid's best at. She'll probably read it from start to finish 3 times, then just say the answer right away, or just once.
Probably. I look forward to seeing her give the correct answer immediately with that smug look on her face.
Come now, this is Erica we're talking about. She'll probably pull out some twisted logic and say it was possible for someone other than Battler's family.
Good point. In fact, I'd like to hear her proud twisted logic even more than the right answer.
Apparently, Battler and Bearto were looking forward to their reunion with Erica.
I've never heard Ryukishi repeat himself.
I've never heard Ryukishi repeat himself. They had already dueled with Erica in 2 separate games, but now there was no distinction between foes and allies. They truly wanted to welcome her to this party after the show as a friend.
So it's a bit unexpected.
What is?
You know, it's surprising that you let Angie go this easily.
Making sure that Battler and the others couldn't see her face, Lambda Delta sniggered. Is it really so surprising?
Of course it is. I thought that, being you'd torture Battler with one tough puzzle after another before releasing her. Or that you'd at least try to give Angie some weird ideas and have her turn the game around in the end.
What?
I feel like Lambda knows what's going on.
What? That's insane, Lambda. Why would you say that? You know nothing. What?
And I thought I knew you better than anyone else in the world. So embarrassing that I was
What
wrong.
a fucking smug girl. Lambda Delta, I love you.
I'd love to know what intention Ryukishi wrote that line with.
Oh no, she clearly knows what's up. She clearly knows.
Clearly.
She's like, hey man, I see you're about to do some crazy shit. I'm on board. Let me get my popcorn. I'm sure it is, but don't worry. You obviously do know me better than anyone else in the world.
Yeah, of course. After all, I love and adore and understand you more than any other person in the universe.
Star! Lambda Delta was flustered by Burncastle's apparently friendly words.
Thank you for doing that for me.
Which were very rare coming from her. I even did the pose. I hope you noticed. Butler-sama.
I refuse to look.
Pardon me for interrupting your conversation. Ange-sama has returned.
Oh, she's back. Great.
She's in the chapel.
So, is she okay?
It seems that she was soaked by the rain, but Kumasawa is bringing her a towel now. When Battler heard this, he breathed a sigh of relief. Then he turned to face Burncastle, showing her a forced smile as though apologizing for still suspecting her just a little.
Oh, Battler.
See, he couldn't suspect anyone. He's such a kind detective.
He really is.
Burncastle showed no reaction and simply continued to wear a blank expression with a slight smile. Never forget the heart. The cruel, dark, twisted heart of Burncastle. Ange-sama has returned! Oh yes! It's wonderful, yay!
I'm back.
As a mackerel. Battler! Ange's back!
Angie, I'm glad you're okay. I was worried.
She stared at Battler as he dashed towards her with a relieved smile. Ange's expression seemed somehow indifferent.
Is Angie about to do the pose?
We'll see. That battler. Looks like he thought I had you hanging by chains in a cave or something.
No, I didn't think you'd go that far. Just a cave or chains, not both.
Yeah.
I was just having some tea at the house of one of Burncastle's friends. It was delicious.
What friend?
Did it have dried plums or miso in it?
Of course not.
As Ange spoke bluntly, she walked right past her brother and exchanged a few whispered words with Burncastle.
I wanted to do the pose.
What is it, battler?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
If he said he was lonely because his little sister was being so cold, Beto would either laugh at him or scratch him. After all, Ange was a girl at that age. She might be in a bad mood for reasons a boy like him couldn't understand. Taking note of this and having satisfied himself that Ange was okay, he made to walk away. Battler, Ange is calling for you.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
I've been trying to get your attention for a while. Don't ignore me.
Wow, rude.
Wasn't really ignoring you. What's going on with you anyway? Look like you're in a bad mood for a while now. Also, why is it raining inside?
I imagine Burncastle gave her something strange to drink and pretended it was just some rare sort of black tea.
It was blood.
I have no business with you. Back off for a bit, would you?
Ooh.
I want to talk to Oni-chan alone.
She looks mad. Come, I may not look it, but I'm the wife of the territory lord. I'm already far closer to battler than...
Sorry, Beto. Would you mind leaving just for a bit?
By now, Battler realized that Ange's issue was more than just a slight bad mood. Beata puffed out her cheeks as though she wanted to say something more. However, she just let it out with a sigh and walked away. Oh. Bye. Bye.
I'm trying to think of any time I've ever actually seen someone puff their cheeks out in frustration other than, like, a 6-year-old child.
I just did it. I'm sure it was beautiful.
Is this okay?
It is. After all, this game's between me and you, right? I'm the player. You're the game master. No matter how many pieces get between us in the end, it's still a direct battle between you and me.
Well, it's true that I'm the game master, but it's not like I'm fighting you or anything like that. This final game was held so you could be invited to the Rekendrum of 1986.
Games are played to decide who wins and who loses. There could be no game unless you have foes and allies. Yeah. Don't try to trick me.
What are you talking about all of a sudden?
Why are you saying what Bird said just a few minutes ago?
You had me totally fooled. First, I actually thought you'd take me to that day in 1986, but that wasn't true.
I was so, like, momentarily shocked by Kinzo's smiling happy face. I was like, what's this?
Yeah.
This has all been a farce you created, hasn't it? You're using this sentimental tale to dodge the issue and leave me confused. You're trying to chase me out into a lonely future with nothing but this cheap happiness as a parting gift. It's just one thing I've been after since the beginning. What happened on Rekendrum that day? And the only answer you gave me was this game.
Oh boy.
The sentimental party of illusions. It's obvious how you're gonna try and answer my question now. I want the truth, and you aren't gonna give it to me.
Angie, listen, you got it wrong.
Don't try and trick me. This game is the final fight between me and you. I want the truth of that day, and you're trying to hide it behind an illusion. It's exactly the same. The setup is no different than those fights between you and Beto. I was about to be chased out of the game board with everything still vague and fuzzy because of you. I'm sorry, but I've already figured out this game is a battle. Don't think you'll trick me so easily anymore.
Here we go.
Battler's like, but Angie, what the fuck are you talking
It's
about?
a literal party throwing for you. Oh god. And a shout tore apart the peaceful atmosphere. The family members and illusions gulped and watched the scene, wondering what was going on. Beto tried to run up to Battler, but he motioned for her to stay back.
What is it you want?
There's only one thing I've ever wanted. The truth of Rekendrum in 1986. That's all I'm looking for.
Truth is sealed within the cat box. Can't be reached by someone outside the cat box like you.
Is that why you're trying to trick me with this sentimental illusion?
Yeah, this is an illusion. Everyone wanted you to remember this fun atmosphere, the harmony with your family. It's not about what happened on that island that day. I wanted you to remember the warmth of these family conferences, a warmth you forgot.
That's just an illusion you're trying to impose on me. I'll reject it and deny it completely.
There's no truth of 1986. The cat box is empty inside. You're looking for something that doesn't exist.
Huh. I won't be tricked anymore. The truth of that day does exist. And it was written down by the sole survivor and presented to this and preserved to this very day.
Balor's expression faltered for just an instant, and Ange didn't miss it. She's winning.
So he was hiding it after all. Oni-chan has been hiding the book of single truth from me. And Eva, for the first time since your death, I'd like to express my gratitude. Because you wrote down what happened that day, you gave me one last chance at learning the truth. Angie-chan, you have to listen to me. Everything I wrote in that diary is nonsense, and it doesn't mean...
Ooh.
There's no point trying to deceive me. It's already been proven in red your diary has the truth of that day in it.
Absurd! How could anyone but Battler, the game master, use the red truth?
It's Aurora, isn't it?
That's right. The Book of the Single Truth exists in 1998, the world of the future. Who else could perform the crucial role of confirming its contents with the red truth?
I heard everything from Burncastle. I've been fooled by you long enough. I don't want some sentimental illusion. I want the real truth.
I'd rather be fooled by someone else!
I'd rather be an idiot.
For a witch than you, my brother, who I love! Oh, God.
No matter how hard you try to cover it up in 1986, I can expose it in 1998. After all, you are the Beatrice of 1986, Oni-chan, and I am the Beatrice of 1998.
Oh, it's about to happen.
What's about to happen?
The end of the world.
Oh, I see.
Here we go. A cyclone rose up around Ange. It was a golden swirl of gold butterflies, just like the golden witch, Beatrice. That was good timing. That was good timing! The golden nocturne, this shit!
I'm Angie Beatrice of 1998, the final golden witch.
Tippy dubs.
Oh, that was a tip?
There was a tip! Tip! Angie Beatrice!
When she rules over the future in the year 1998, she stands completely outside the cat box, making her entirely different from all the other witches. So what will she find in this final game?
Who knows? Let's do it!
No witch of the past can defeat a witch of the future.
The cyclone of gold broke apart, and as gold leaves scattered across the room, the final witch, who would inherit Beatrice's name in the future, appeared. Ange Beatrice.
You're the golden and endless witch, but I'm different. I'm the golden witch of truth. No illusion can stand in my way. Yes, this is the end of Oni-chan's boring party.
Damn!
Now it's time for my party to start. I've even readied a game to liven things up. You're up, Aunt Ava.
Here she comes!
Huh?
Not you. When Ange snapped her fingers, she vanished along with a swirl of gold butterflies. Replacing her in the middle of that cyclone was a girl wearing a dress, bowing modestly. You're up, Ava. She's pissed.
You?
That's pretty rude, you know. Inviting everyone to the party except me.
You're Ava.
The sole survivor of Rikenjima, and the witch of the future, the golden and endless witch from 1986 to 1998. In the world of the future, Battlekun's sentimental illusion is more fragile than a flake of snow on a lake. Okay, let's have some fun. Come, try to remember, all of you. Remember your endless theory making.
Here they come! When Ava held her hand to the heavens, light gathered there and took the form of a bottle. Yes, a bottle. A glass bottle with no label. There was no alcohol inside. Sealed within it was a fragment that lit off a pale, sinister light. Battler, this is bad. She must not smash that bottle! Oops.
Hashtag too late.
Okay, it's your time!
Here come the message bottles. The bottle was slammed against the floor and smashed to pieces. As soon as the fragment within it touched the outside air, it flashed white and burst.
We're just gonna have like a cascade of different games.
At first, it seemed that nothing had happened. However, Ava grinned at them before becoming a cloud of butterflies and vanishing. At some point, Burncastle must have vanished as well.
What did she do?
It was probably a fragment she brought back with her from the world of the future. Perhaps we could call it the contents of the cat box in the future.
What does all this mean? Wait, what?
At that moment, they heard a thundering roar. It was as though large chunks of hail had started falling everywhere. An earthquake accompanied that noise, and the whole mansion creaked. Dust began to fall from the ceiling. At the same time, it seemed as though the curtain-covered window glowed with a pale light. What on earth is going on?
Curie, look outside. What the hell is that?
Everyone rushed to the window in response to her voice. Of course, Battler and Beato went too. Then, they drew the curtains, looked at the scene outside, and were stunned into silence. How beautiful. Oh, there you go. I wouldn't have guessed that.
How beautiful.
Thank you. Kinzo's words echoed the first impression felt by all who looked out at the scene beyond the windows.
Not all beauty is benign.
They always say that beauty has thorns, yeah. Though everyone found the scene beautiful, they all sensed impending misfortune from it. Outside the window, countless small objects, pale glowing fragments of crystals, lay strewn about everywhere like fallen hail. The word fantastical perfectly summed up the scene that lay before them in the glowing rose garden. I saw something move over there.
Hey, is there someone over there? Wait, huh?
A person just grew out of that glowing fragment.
Seven Sisters of Purgatory battle formation.
Yes! With those words of Lucifer's, everyone finally realized that they were being surrounded by danger. Hey, goats. Welcome to the party.
Goat party.
We did not invite you guys. No, you can't have a +1. Oh no. They're eating all the food. One by one, the countless fragments shook and burst, and large dark bodies rose up from inside each. They were giants with goat heads. One after another, they appeared from the insides of broken fragments. Oh dear. Those fragments lay all over the rose garden in vast numbers and made the ground glow, so that everyone inside was forced to shudder. 4-5, wide area surveillance. My radar's filled with whites. We're either being jammed or the vast number of readings is making count of enemy numbers impossible. Even as she said this, the glowing rose garden outside the window was being filled with giant goats. The fragments carrying the goats weren't just in the rose garden. They were spread evenly across the entire island. Not just the rose garden, but the entire area around the mansion was being covered with goats by now.
Allow us to speak.
Yes?
Know that we are completely surrounded.
Thank you! Yeah, we noticed. What do you do now, Battler?
Only one thing to do with uninvited guests. Let's chase them off. Who are these people? I'm guessing they aren't your minions, right, Beto?
The goat forms they hold are probably just imitations of the pieces on this game board.
They aren't Richie or Leah's minions. This is something worse. I see. So they are manifestations of message bottles.
Message bottles? What's Beto made? Not quite. These are fragments of what people in the future have imagined.
Endless possibilities are hidden within the cat box. Because of that, those outside the box can imagine the insides to be any one of an infinite number of things. It would seem those endless delusions are the true form of these creatures. What do those goats do to us, I wonder? It doesn't look like they're here to give us a handshake and a pat on the back.
Those people, those lowlifes, making up and passing around stories, imagining the tragedies that might have unfolded around us on this island. They found it so fascinating that I never talked about the truth. They kept on creating tragedies one after another for their own enjoyment.
Sounds endlessly amusing.
I see. So they're fragments from the future, imagining the cat box of 1986 however they please.
In the world of the future, any and all interpretations can and do exist. Unless we deny them, everyone will be able to claim that their view is the truth, and they will remain on this island.
What a fix we're in.
Looks like we're surrounded and fighting for our lives.
There's no flip sound. Oh, okay.
It's okay, maybe later.
Maybe later.
I'm sure there'll be at least one.
Huh? What are they doing?
What? They're eating! They're eating something, and then they're gonna eat me! They're eating the roses. The crowd of goats was squirming about and doing something. If you look closely, you could see them sticking their heads into rose bushes and munching away. And it wasn't just rose bushes. Light poles, the bricks of the flower beds, and even the stone paving itself.
They're just like actual goats.
Yep. They were biting all of it, almost as if they were trying to eat up the whole island. What?
No, they aren't just eating.
If they aren't eating, what are they doing? That is not eating. They are eroding it, shaving away at the edges. The edges of the game board itself.
You're eating the game board?
The world of the future, everyone believes we were swallowed up by a tragedy today. That's why they won't accept a truth where we enjoy ourselves in peace.
Rosa couldn't get away from the bomb. Truths of the past is subordinate to truths of the future.
Oh.
Yes, that's what the goats are. Anything that's gonna breach the truth of the game, the goats show up to stop it.
Like Kraus punching someone across the universe?
Well, not quite like that, but yeah, like that's what the goats kind of represent.
That's interesting. That's fun.
That's basically what the goats are, yeah. The truths of the past is subordinate to the truths of the future. The merciless future fangs and jaws of those goats refuse to accept our truth and are eroding it, replacing it with the kind of truth they expect. Battler.
Ah, damn it, this is our truth. It's not for those people in the future who have nothing to do with us anyway to rewrite us as they please.
Yes, you living characters who exist. Oh, it's so fun. Garden outside the window is now filled with too many goats to count, all chewing away. This repulsive scene stole the words from everyone's lips. They weren't stunned into silence. There was just no point in making a fuss and letting the goats know a certain fact. No point in letting them know that there was plenty of prey waiting in this bright, warm room. Prey that was softer and easier to chew than roses or bricks. That goat there, he's looking at us! Silence, do not make a fuss. It's coming this way! Dear me, this does not look good. Oh god. Oh no. What are those @ signs? They saw one of the newly born goats head slowly towards the window. There was already a huge swarm of them in the garden, so it was no surprise that when one of them looked around for new prey, he would see the light from this window. Its immense, eerie body slowly approached. As it grew closer, they could finally see it clearly. The eyes blazed despite being cold, ruthless, and reptilian. Those cruel fangs and jaws could tear apart and crush anything. Any fangs that could chew through brick would hardly have a problem chewing through humans. Its massive body had to be taller than the windows themselves, and it was lumbering towards this window. Oh dear.
If only this window was made out of a special Ashirmia bulletproof glass.
I doubt if a bulletproof glass would stop that thing. Whoa, it's coming, it's running towards us! Oh! He's just running around the room with his arms flailing in the air. Oh shit! Yes!
Note that this window shall not be breached.
Yes! Here it comes!
Power of Cornelius' seal formed a shield around the glass.
The goat was blown back and able even to touch the glass because of this power. It's time for the last battle. Its weight made the earth tremble. They could feel it clearly, even inside.
Is that the name of the track?
Not quite, but I'll tell you what the name is later. But that tremor had also drawn the attention of the nearby goats. A pack of goats started shuffling towards them, and a fight broke out as they each charged forward, trying to reach this new prey first. The window protected by Cornelius' seal would probably be safe. However, there were many windows in the Great Hall. For the first time, those windows became a source of terror instead of sunlight and a lovely view.
Gertrude.
Oh god. This is so great.
Allow me to speak. Note that this window shall not be breached.
Gertrude sealed another window. The goats trying to break in through that one were thrown back. But at the same time, they heard the crash of yet another window being smashed. Scattering fragments of glass everywhere, the massive goats broke through the window frame and entered into the building. No, not Gerda! No! Whoa!
Stay back, everyone, stay back. I can punch these things.
On the first twilight, the six chosen by the key. Those words really were coming from the goat's mouth, along with a steaming foul breath. However, it didn't get a chance to say any more. Get him! Forehead, neck, shoulder, chest, side, gut, knee. The stakes of the seven sisters buried themselves in deep, one after another.
What a rough, unappetizing flesh for piercing. I'd hate to have to gobble up any more of these.
The other windows shattered one after another, and several goats squeezed their way in through the window frames. Their mouths were still stuffed with the bricks they had just been snacking on. Each time they chewed, it made a ghastly sound, like bones being crushed.
We will repel them.
Yeah. Yes, the troops, prepare for close-range combat.
Stop. Start firing away and we'll have all the other goats coming to join the party.
Let's fall back to the second floor. If we can seal the staircase, it'll buy us some time.
Everyone upstairs, hurry.
After sniffing noisily, as though scanning the smells around them, the goats started chewing on whatever chairs, table, or curtains were close by. The goats would chew anything to bits, as long as it was near them. If the others were careful not to attract the goats' attention, they would be able to escape from this place. The humans ran on ahead up to the second floor, while the illusions, who were used to fighting, guarded the rear. The goats were completely absorbed by their feast on everything in the hall. Hope you're ready for more fan service. By now, they were even brutally chewing away at the portrait of Beatrice, which could fairly be called the symbol of the Ashumia family itself. Battler! The humans have all taken refuge on the second floor!
Good. Lenora, seal all the staircases. Gertrude and Cornelia will handle it. However, they need more time.
Yes. All over the mansion, there were loud beating sounds that might be called knocks and the sound of shattering glass. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for work. Yay!
Seven Sisters of Purgatory right here. Let's go, you lowlifes. Tonight is all you can eat.
Get 'em! Cheers the troops, hold all external tasks. Cancel automatic updates except no data, take no prisoners.
I, Zona Jungfrau of the 7th District, by the Territory Lord's order, carry out your duty. I'll lend a hand. Leon, you're in the way. Group up to the 2nd floor.
But Will, leave this to us and go. Because we are the fucking badasses. You have your own job to do. Protect your family. I understand. Everyone, stay safe. The mansion was filled with the sounds of knocking, crashing, smashing, and chewing. The goats and their wave of destruction was drawing steadily closer.
Lord Battler, Gertrude and Cornelia have finished sealing the other staircases. The large staircase here is the only one that remains.
The other staircases are tiny, so they went fast. On the other hand, this staircase is huge.
Lambda, wait.
Looks like you'll have your hands full buying time.
What are you doing here, Lambda? Lambda not to spoke as though it was someone else's problem. It only took a glance at her face to see that she had no intention of lending a hand. Even so, Berta didn't scold her. This was a game between Battler and Ange. Lambda Delta was only a theater goer who had been invited.
Don't think badly of me. Even I'd die if I was torn apart by nothingness. Sorry, but I think I'll stick to being an observer.
And that's what you've always been. Though it is a shame that we can't ask you for your help.
Nah, she's being nice. Doesn't want to steal our show.
Yeah.
Sure, let's call it that.
As a Voyager witch, Lambda Delta could retreat from this game board of battlers if she wanted to. In other words, she was the only one who wasn't in trouble now.
See you later. I think I'll watch this game between you and Byrne until the end. I'll be rooting for you.
Yay! As you munch on popcorn.
Of course. I think I'll have some soy sauce butter flavor today.
Lambda Delta vanished with a pop. As soon as she did, a black hole opened up in midair and Garp fell out of it.
Battler, Richie, could you come here for a second? You should probably see this.
Oh boy.
Right now? Yes.
Let's go. Everyone, we're counting on you to hold this position. When Garp snapped her fingers, a large hole opened up under Battler and Berto, swallowing them both. They were spat out into an inky blackness.
Is that meant to be the island?
Yep.
That is very distorted.
Both of them were floating in the night sky. Rukendrima lay far beneath them, and as soon as they realized this, they shuddered. This is...
It's not just a crowd, it's the sea.
a literal sea of goats. It was no longer a crowd of goats, but an entire sea of them. Just as Rukendrima poked out from the ocean, the mansion was now poking out from a sea of goats.
People in the future really are amazing. Just how many of them have imagined the tragedy of this island?
It's nothing more than the worst drivel of those outside the cat box. Let's clean this place up.
Look over there. It's hard to tell, but look at the shoreline. Shoreline? It's easy to make out the harbor. Look closely. See it?
Don't tell me. Bella.
Yeah, you're probably right. They're eating it. Eating the whole island.
Do we get points for that exchange?
Sure, why the fuck not? How many
5
points
points,
do you want?
5 points.
Okay.
Come try and remember, fragments from the future. If only you just chew up all the embellishment, all the illusions, all the fantasy, and if only they'd just give up and die.
As they ever yelled this to the heavens, hovering about the raging sea, hail fell down with a pale glow. Each was an unlabeled bottle with a fragment inside. They poured onto the island, were smashed to bits, and the fragments inside them scattered everywhere. Every now and then, the fragments would split in two, and then split in two again, and every single one of them burst and gave birth to a massive goat. To say it was like bamboo shoots springing up after the rain would be a vast understatement. The goats writhed about like bubbling, boiling water in a pot. They ate away at everything they saw. They didn't just eat the harbor, but the trees and rocks, the entire coastline itself. Hundreds, thousands, no, tens of thousands of goats continued to eat. And eat and eat and eat. They were chewing away at every bit of Rukendrima, of this final game that Battler had prepared.
Too bad, Battler. The future wants a tragedy on this island. Even Angie wants the truth.
Blood, blood,
Don't worry,
blood.
we'll chew up all the embellishment, illusions, and fantasy for you.
Blood, 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 death, murder.
Blood for the
It's
blood
so much
god.
fun! By now, Battler and the others had to admit it. The future wanted a tragedy. Even if the truth of this island had been a gentle, peaceful thing, the future didn't want that. The truth that they wanted was painting over the past. The past is such a fragile thing. Even the cat box was being chewed apart.
Just who are these people? You're really so determined to plunge us into a tragedy?
Assholes.
That's all I wanted to show you. Hope this helps a bit when you're making strategic decisions. Yeah, thanks. Now I feel like crap. Let's go to the study next if you don't mind. Goldsmith wants to talk to you.
Garp snapped her fingers and another black hole sorted them up and spread them out in the study. Ow! Garp, you're gonna drop me, at least do it on a bed.
Grandfather, we're in trouble. There's absolutely nowhere left to go. I know, and even waiting out the storm from here is not an option.
Runaway and the others should be able to buy us some time, but that's all. Come on. They just hold up in the mansion. It would only be a matter of time before the swarm of goats got them. Trying to repel a few of the goats barging into the mansion would be like using a cup to bail water from a boat with a hole in it. We can fight defensively for a while, but it's only a matter of time.
We need to think of something while we fight. Can we escape? We're at 2. Is there any way for us to leave the game board?
The outside of the game board is beyond the range of our territory. Only a Voyager which could leave. Only Bencastle and Lambda Delta could do it. However, there was no way Bencastle would help. Even Lambda Delta had already announced that she would be an observer instead of lending a hand.
So there's nowhere left to run.
No, there is just one place.
Where? The Golden Land.
Yes, time for the battle for the Golden Land. That's the name of the track.
Okay, thank you.
I see. Is that our only option now?
Indeed. The Golden Land is the most impenetrable place on this game board. If we wish to escape, it's that or nothing.
These things are eating the cat box itself. Oh, we know they might start chewing away the Golden Land itself at any moment.
What should we do, Battler?
No point thinking about it. We're retreating. If we take too long to make a decision, even that road will be closed to us. Evacuate everyone. How can we open the door to the Golden Land?
I just have to open it. However, an immense wave of the antimagic toxin is emanating from that crowd of goats. It will take some time to open the door.
So we've only got to protect this study with our lives until the door is open. Just have to keep doing what we've been doing.
There's one more problem. The door to the Golden Land cannot be shut unless 2 people close it from the outside.
When was this rule introduced? I'm not familiar with it.
It wasn't. This is it.
2 from the outside. What do you mean?
As soon as he said this, Battler realized this must be the result of some agreement made between the 3 witches who are one. Normally, there's no need to go to the trouble of shutting the door, but it won't be so easy this time.
Only you and Beto can fulfill the role of shutting the door. Me as the Territory Lord and Beto. Yeah, sounds like the safest choice.
Indeed. If it's just the 2 of us, we might even be able to protect ourselves.
Okay, open the door.
To a sacrifice someone may achieve happiness in the Golden Land.
Uh-huh.
Where have we been introduced to that concept previously?
I don't know, Ben.
I don't know either.
Probably Higurashi.
Yeah, that sounds right. I hope you're joking. I heard that you were not missing this, because that will destroy me. Beto waved her pipe, leaving a golden trail behind as she sliced the air vertically. Then, the gap at the door to the Golden Land appeared. It looked like nothing more than a thin golden string hanging from the ceiling. If you looked closely, you could see that the string was getting thicker very slowly. The door to the Golden Land certainly was opening, but so slowly that you couldn't even tell it if you weren't careful. This rate would probably take quite some time. Some stretch of time that we won't specify.
Won't specify.
Before it grew big enough to let a person through. They're being very unashamed with that, though, I think. I think it's completely reasonable.
Yeah. Grandfather Gup, we need you to be our inner line of defense.
Yes, there may be goats climbing out the outer walls.
Very well. My rifle hungers for some prey. I've never been more ready to say a line in my life.
Fucking gun cock as well.
Understood. It'd be fun dropping those things into the abyss.
Oh, Kinzo, I love you. Cut back. Let's get this party started, boys. Oh, no. A giant was sliced at an angle, split into 2 parts, and fell to the floor, showering with filthy dark blood and guts.
Splendidly done.
Yes.
I'll let you take the next one.
Countless massive goats, which had forced their way in from rooms and windows all across the mansion, wandered about in search of something to chew. All the fan service. Several of the goats noticed a group of people huddled around the staircase and lumbered closer, but they were pulverized by merciless attacks. Renova's shields easily halted the charging goats. The Vigilia's magic spears were pinning the giants against the walls. Delanor's and Will's blades were also slicing easily through the goats. The pinpoint strikes of the Seven Sisters of Purgatory could pierce the vitals of and finish off an opponent, any opponent, no matter how large. The Siesta Sisters were holding their own too. They had blasted enough goats to bits with one shot from their high-caliber firearms that you couldn't count the kills with both hands. Given a limited number of opponents, there were more than a match for these goats. However, they weren't just up against a crowd, but an entire ocean. It was like a pebble trying to face the approaching waves of a stormy sea.
It's been a while since we've seen that graphic.
Yeah. Good to have the chests back. How on that gun barrel replacement? Requesting cover from the Purgatory troops.
I meant the background of the giants.
Oh, that too.
We've definitely seen the thread plenty.
Yeah.
So you run out of ammo and you're nothing but rabbits. Lame.
I don't want to hear that from a bunch of 7 paperweights who can only kill one person at a time. Yeah. Fucking wrecked.
Yeah, keep them coming. Don't let us get bored.
The hall was filled with massive goat corpses. As if in fear of this sight, the goats that came in one after another formed a wall, keeping their distance. Perhaps they think they're no match for us.
I wish that were true, but it seems to be little more than wishful thinking.
What are those guys doing? They're looking at us and whispering to each other. Apparently they have the intelligence to talk together and cooperate.
The goats surrounded them at a distance, whispering. Then they nodded at each other as though deciding something, and the whole group stirred. What are they doing? It almost looks like they're lining up in a different order. What are they doing?
I have no clue, Ben.
We'll find out. The enemy is changing its formation. It appears that the individuals with greater destructive power are being gathered in the front lines.
So what? Let's go.
Yes, Oni-sama!
Wait, something's wrong! Oh god. Lucifer took aim at one of them, going for its forehead. The other 6 sisters followed her lead, trying to pierce the vital organs all over the creature's body. However, there was no sound of pierced flesh. The 7 sisters of Purgatory were knocked back, unable to cause even the smallest wound.
Oh no, the anti-magic toxin.
Let's go.
What? What just happened? Those guys are talking about something.
The goats kept whispering the same thing over and over as they slowly approached the 7 sisters. All of them whispered unanimously. All fantasy is fictional. The 7 sisters of Purgatory are illusions, personifying stake for so many sacrifices. They're actually paperweights. As they whispered curses that denied the 7 sisters' existence, the goats lumbered closer. Get back! Purgatory troops! We'll cover you! It's time you learn a lesson, goats! Ah! Get fucked! Oh no. The golden bows of the Chiesa's troops mowed down the wall of goats with a shower of bright golden bullets. Some of the goats were torn to pieces, but some of them seemed completely unaffected. Then, the goats who were uninjured all whispered as one. Yes, sisters and bill guards have Maria's rabbit dolls as their vessels. They're actually rabbit dolls. Maria's imagination, fantasy, fictional beings. All of the crimes can be explained by mystery. All fantasy is relevant.
Looks like.
We've got lots of people who accept the existence of magic.
And that means?
No magical attacks will have any effect on them.
I thought that was about to be a double, but it wasn't.
No, it was a fake out.
It's a fake out.
Does that mean all of our attacks will be completely useless?
Yeah, mutual carry. Endless 9 now. If they don't accept that we exist, our attacks can't hurt them now.
If only that worked with real weapons.
Is that even possible? We'll have to test it. I will do it because I'm the best. Renove stepped forward, stamped on the floor twice, and a red barrier rose up in front of him. The crowd of goats dashed into it with a terrifying force. While some goats were blown away by it, several of them slipped right through the magical barrier. Renove is a creature of magic, a creature of fiction. Genji is Renove's vessel. He's an imaginary version of Genji. I see. So even my attacks will not affect some of them. There was no longer any point in Vigilia trying out her magic spear. Now that some of the goats had decided that her existence was fictional, she could no longer hurt them. Even these great demons and great witches, as well as high-level furniture and weapons, were overcome with fear of the crowd that surrounded them, a crowd that would not be affected by any of their attacks.
What are we going to do?
We'll keep fighting until the end. You don't have permission to die in battle. Fantasy is all fiction, fantasy is all fiction. Fantasy is all fiction.
I'm enjoying this performance of yours so much, I don't want to... It's so ridiculous.
Someone's gonna do it! A shriek from one of the ghosts became a signal for the wall of them to break. They pushed forward with gaping mouths and foul breath, each trying to reach their prey first, trying to return these fictional creatures to nothingness. Look out! Look out! Virgilia leapt in front of and held several of the seven sisters, who had fallen on their butts, overpowered by the ferocity of the approaching goats. However, even Virgilia was a fictional creature to these goats. They could chew through her like cotton candy. No! Not Virgilia! But, quickly! Renove threw himself at the oncoming goats! Even he would be chewed apart easily. Knowing this, Renove leapt forward. He was a fucking badass. Renove harp! Even if my magic no longer functions, I am still the fiercely passionate and loyal man I always was. And furthermore, did you expect that I would simply sit by and watch a lady die? No! No, sir! Renove is fantasy! Renove is fantasy! Renove slammed his right fist into the side of a goat's face. As soon as he pulled it back, he swung his left leg into the goat's gut and spun around to a reverse roundhouse that caught the goat again.
I feel like reverse roundhouse is the only kick that Ryukishi knows.
Knows how to use? Yes. It's always reverse roundhouse kicks. Renove knew he could do less damage than a mosquito bite against those who didn't accept his existence. This was the height of anti-magic defensive power. Endless 9. Renove is fantasy, a fiction, an illusion. The goat swung his log-like fist with sound like a storm. Renove dodged by a hair. Had he been an instant slower, that massive arm would have crushed his head like glass. Renove, stop this run! Renove cannot help but rise to the challenge when I see a lady in a pinch. A bad habit of mine. Renove grinned and tried to act tough. He had already sacrificed all he had. There was nothing he could do here and now, except become a shield to buy time. He had already chosen to abandon his life for this. Renove is fantasy. He couldn't exist. He couldn't possibly exist. Illusions don't exist. They don't exist. Fantasy is all ridiculous. The ghosts kept coming, trying to feast on Renove. None had any pretensions of making this a one-on-one fight. Nothing mattered except chewing apart fantasy. Even just a nibble. As they gnashed those ruthless jaws and fangs, they closed in around Renove. Yeah! Renove's foot hit something and he stumbled. Renove, no! At the same instant, several massive arms reached out and lifted him up.
Renove-sama!
Renove!
What are you doing? She has to shoot them!
If they didn't do anything, we would have done already. Yeah! Everyone, please stand back. I should be able to buy you some time as they sever my flesh. However, I think they'll find that Renove has quite a few little bones in him. I love this man so much.
He's so great.
An elbow rammed himself into the massive, hideous jaws that were trying to chew Renove's head. Of course, the goat did moan, but they did nothing but deprive just one goat of his right to the first bite of Renove's head. Many jaws opened wide, trying to crush him and throw him down into those heartless stomachs, which would permit no cheerful illusions to exist. I won't accept fantasy, won't accept. It's possible to explain everything with mystery. Possible. Fantasy is fake. Everything is mystery. Oh! The many arms that lifted Renove up were sliced off! The seven sisters used this chance to fly forward and grab Renove, dragging him back. Who saved him? Yay!
Which of you mentioned mystery?
Yes! Does Lano's blade work on them?
I see, if our foes are calling it a mystery.
Blood red long-sworded hand, Lano slowly walked forward. Behind her walked Will, tapping his back with his black blade.
If you don't think this is a fantasy, then let's have your theories.
Yay!
I cannot wait to hear your explanations.
He's getting into it! He's getting into it!
Hell yeah.
The crowd of goats stepped back. Though they had been so vicious against the illusions, they stepped back when faced with this pair wielding swords of mystery.
There have been a great many closed room murders on this game board. Choose whichever you please and we will parry all of your attacks.
Go on, fucking nerds, let's go!
No, we don't have to defend anything. Indeed, the purpose of a mystery is to offer a challenge. There's no need for us to play defense. Do you get it yet?
Yes!
You're the ones in the hot seat now.
Yay! Let's go!
This is so fucking ridiculous.
Yes, it's amazing! Blue Truth cut the goats apart! That Blue Truth dwelt within each and every one of the riddles of Banner's game so far. What about the closed room with the chain? First game, second Twilight. What about the closed room with the chapel? Second game, first Twilight. What about the trick to killing Ange? Third game, ninth Twilight. There was no end to the blades. Get him! Nah, he's got this. Fucking Will!
Ryukishi must have just been like, well, I have all of these effects I haven't used. How can I cram them into as short a space of time as possible?
Yeah, pretty much. The countless riddles Beatrice had left behind became blades, challenges that tore the goats apart. If they wanted to deny fantasy, they would have to make a counter-argument. They would have to deal with every single trick as a mystery. However, while most of the goats called themselves anti-fantasy, they hadn't thought up any answers for the mystery. Though every now and then, goats with answers did appear. Someone outside, you assume your family, was hiding on the island and...
Nox is first. It is forbidden for the culprit to be anyone not mentioned in the early part of the story.
She got me. There were multiple culprits all working separately. They just happened to look like a single culprit.
Van Dyne's 12th. There must be but one true culprit.
You mean everything but that is forbidden?
Boring, right? To have a genre like that. Personally, I think mystery should be more flexible.
The 10 Nox commandments and the 20 Van Dyne rules are behind the times. The definition of the mystery genre should change with the era.
And now they get uppity. Perhaps we are behind the times. In that case, let's see if you have any theories that can satisfy us. Come.
A whole crowd of goats charged them. In their fangs, each of them carried theories to crush Beata's closed rooms. The bodies of these goats differed from those who had become corpses so easily. They had mystery-style answers to several closed rooms, so it would take several blade hits to give them a fatal wound. However, Beata had left many blades behind. All of them were exceedingly sharp, so the pair of inquisitors didn't think this would be a desperate battle. This is mystery. The goal is to use all your imagination and knowledge to challenge each of the riddles head-on. Doing so is the greatest pleasure of the mystery genre.
There it is.
So they laughed. Both Will and Delanor laughed. With smiles of admiration at the theories the goats had put everything they had into, they countered with blades from the closed rooms. The crowd of goats was no longer an encirclement, but a great wave threatening to swallow the pair up. And yet, the pair repelled the enemy without giving an inch. They resisted firmly, cutting through the wave of wailing goats. It was like an ice-breaking ship, knocking a path through a frozen sea. They entered the closed room through a hidden passage that no one else could use, and...
Nox's third. It is forbidden for hidden passages to exist.
After the hidden passage was used, it was welded shut and became unusable, so no hidden passages existed at the time of the inspection, and...
Nox's eighth. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented.
These are all fake murders, so no one is actually dead. So all closed rooms were constructed by the so-called victims. Lanor hesitated for just an instant. After all, this cliched and simple theory managed to get around both Bear's closed rooms and the Nox commandments.
Fortunately, there's right.
Lanor saw nothingness inside the ghost's massive jaws. Here he comes. Yay!
Van Dyne's seventh. It is forbidden to have a crime without a corpse.
Yay! The goat's jaws seemed to close around Delanor's head. However, the upper and lower drawers were no longer connected, so the upper half merely slid off to the side.
I guess even the great Nox forgot to forbid fake murders. There are many splendid mysteries besides murder.
The goats weren't about to back off and let the pair have a nice long chat about the mystery genre. The next massive figure immediately enveloped them. Will's blade drew a diagonal slash across its chest, but only cut through its clothes, leaving no wound.
20 wedges don't work on this one.
Great, this is so good. Lanor also hit it with that long sword, but still, it just cut its clothes without leaving a mark on its body. Could this goat have a theory that doesn't violate Nox or Van Dyne? Nox and Van Dyne are meaningless. All closed rooms can be explained by a single solution. After all...
Is it about to say Trap X?
Not quite. In an attempt to stop the goat from saying any more, Will and Lanor hit it with blades from every closed room, as well as 6 from the 10 Commandments and the 20 Rules, but none of them had any effect. Slowly, the goat clenched its massive fists together and raised them high. After all.
Will.
With a roar, Will slammed into the goat giant with his body. Though its massive bulk bent back slightly, Will was still leaping into a death trap. However, if he hadn't done so, he wouldn't have been able to protect Lanor. The goat grabbed Will, it lifted him up and held him high in the air. It was like a little kid showing off his favorite toy and waving it around.
Let's hear your theory. If I'm to hear a great theory before I die, it'll be a fitting end for a right.
Van Dyne and Nox are useless for making theories. Goat's massive hands closed on Will like a vice. All the bones in Will's body were creaking.
Let's hear your theory.
There is no need for a theory.
What?
After all, making theories for any of Beatrice's games is a waste of time.
What do you mean?
Here we go. Your big theory. This isn't an orthodox mystery, so thinking about it's just a waste of time. I won't accept Beatrice's game as a mystery. There are no answers to the tricks. It's all just an illusion.
Well, it's a good thing that there is nothing that could possibly attack him after that statement.
Definitely nothing in this room that could attack someone that doesn't accept it as a mystery.
Thinking is just a waste of time.
He's like personally offended at this. Will's head was lowered, so his face couldn't be seen. However, the arm of the goat holding him was shaking. The embrace of those log-sized arms with superhuman strength was being slowly pushed away by Will's shaking arms.
Thinking is just a waste of time. You say that and you call yourself a mystery novel reader.
The mystery genre is like chivalry. You will find what the noble rules you've created, with pride in the stance you've taken. Is it worth being a coward if it will help you win? Does losing make the whole fight meaningless if you fought with everything you had? This isn't about winning and losing, it's about applauding them with the fight, even in the most dire circumstances. The goat's arms were now spread wide, and it looked as though Will was now the one pushing it back. Will's face was covered in shadow and couldn't be seen.
People like you who call themselves mystery readers even though they never even tried to solve mysteries. You're the ones I really can't stand.
Will slammed his forehead into the goat's now unprotected head.
If you call yourself a mystery reader, be proud to join in on a battle of wits. If you call yourself a mystery reader, it's about time you realized. Giving up is nothing to brag about.
You bloody bastard! Will hit it with his head over and over again. His forehead had been torn apart by the goat's fangs, but he kept on hitting it. Van Dyne and Nox may be behind the times. The mystery genre does progress with time, just like the world around it. However, there's one thing that never changes. That is, pride. What is a knight proud of? Not victory. He's proud of his courage, which lets him stand up to anyone without fear. Will couldn't forgive the kind of coward who could turn tail from a fight and then brag about it. People who call themselves mystery readers but who have no pride are the only people Will just can't stand. The goat, unable to put up with this anymore, threw Will down to the floor. Then he lifted his fists again, determined to crush Will to pieces this time.
Come, you probably will beat me to a pulp, but there'll be no victory for you. You'll destroy your own pride with your own hands.
Pointless, pointless! This is the mystery, so why make theories? Think he's just a waste of time. Useless, 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 die! Die! A fist like a cannonball swinging down towards him was the very last thing Wolf saw before he shut his eyes.
In this game, if you stop thinking.
Who was it? There he is! Battler's here!
In this game, if you give up, that means you lose, right?
Battler smashed his fist into the goat's mouth, and smashed teeth bounced off the ceiling. Battler Simmer!
You stop thinking means you've given up on the story being a mystery. Which means as far as you're concerned, this game is a fantasy.
Battler lifted up his arm, realizing this was a signal. Lucifer and Chester 00 jumped.
You stop thinking, you don't deserve to be an actor on the stage. Stop trying to sound smart. Go eat some popcorn from the stands or something.
Rude. The goat lifted his fist again, then swung it down at Battler like a hammer. It's fantasy. Well, what can you do, I guess?
If you've surrendered to fantasy...
That just makes you another target now. It's the same as acknowledging that we exist. Begin recognition of hostile elements. Mark all targets vulnerable to magical attacks in our HMDs.
Kids who surrender to fantasy get to deal with us!
And if you have a theory, we will hear it out.
Yay!
We'll welcome those people with open arms. Out of respect for them, we won't hold anything back.
Oh, but it would seem that this is Battler Summer's time to shine.
Well, I'd like to listen to all your favorite theories, both mystery and fantasy. This isn't your game right now. No matter how much your favorite future fragments try to deny us, this is no time for me to be defeated.
Yay, Battler, get him! Oh! A golden glint gathered in Battler's hand. It was so bright that the whole hall was bathed in gold. Golden butterflies flitted about, as though the whole room was being swallowed up by the golden
to get another
light.
gold truth? I want one.
Battler lifted his golden longsword high.
Here it comes, boys. Feel free to challenge Beto's game as mystery or fantasy. I welcome it. But I'm not going to let you deny this final game of mine. Feel the shame of your indiscretion, impugning the honor of those who have passed away.
A slice of the golden longsword flooded the hall with a sea of golden light. Then, the whole group of goats clambering about the hall turned into clouds of gold butterflies and scattered. Even so, only about 100 of them had been wiped out. Only. Before long, the massive crowds of goats outside would probably come pouring in.
The seal Gertrude and the others are working on will be finished in a bit. Sorry, but I'll have to ask you to hold out here just a little longer. Of course, Lord Battler.
Otherwise, we wouldn't get to show off.
You know you two could try fighting just a little. But...
well... just the MCs! Their excessively blunt refusal drew a few strained smiles. However, it had lessened the tension in the room just a bit. It's always good to have a good performer on
Battler,
side.
leave this to us.
We won't allow the erosion to proceed any further. And not one of us will be left behind.
of course. We are precious pieces on Lord Battler's game board.
Yay! The Seven Sisters of Purgatory, the Siesta Sisters Core, and everyone else nodded forcefully.
Yeah, I'm counting on all of you. We'll definitely protect this final game I made for Ange.
Oh, I love that scene so much.
Managing to hold the ground down below.
The door to the Golden Land continues to open slowly. It will still take some time, though.
That's right, we'd better start buying some time ourselves.
The sea of goats that covered the ground below them was jostling about more and more. By now, even the sea surrounding the island had disappeared. The horizon was gone, and the chewed-up island was now floating on an eerie emptiness like space. The goats that flooded the edges of Rekenjima seemed to be spilling off the sides.
Looks like that's it for this game board.
As long as there's a game master in pieces, the game board can always be laid out again. As long as you have two people together, you can create any sort of game, or universe costs. What?
True. Where on earth is Ange?
Where did you hide that?
That's right, the chapel. What's happened to the chapel?
It's still there! The chapel looked like a white building floating in the pitch-black sea of goats. Yeah, this was strange. There was no way those goats who consumed everything would go out of their way to avoid just the chapel. Oh, I'm so excited.
That's where Ange is.
Oh, here we go. Outside the chapel was a sea of goats. Very soon, the earth around the chapel would be eaten away, and it would probably end up floating on nothingness. The rampage of the goats as they devoured everything and recited the tragedies they had imagined was truly making a lot of noise. However, none of that reached inside the chapel. Ange finally broke the magic seal on the entrance and stepped inside. The seal was supposed to be unbreakable by anyone. However, in the face of Ange Beatrice, Witch of Truth, the one who sought the truth and could sweep aside all forces that prevented her from finding it, no barrier was absolute.
There it is.
Oh boy. A single book, tightly locked, rested on the altar. It was the hidden diary that Ashumia Eva had continued to write in even in her later years. The Book of the Single Truth. It was the one Fethrin had shown her in the world of 1998. This
time I have the key. I gripped the gold key that sat in my pocket, the key Oni-chan gave me. As I approached the altar, I saw the Book of the Single Truth was wrapped in a strange bending of the light. So this is that seal of the Game Master that Burn Castle talked about. The Book of the Single Truth was sealed in something like a crystal. It was a seal made by the Game Master's authority. This was on a different level than the breakable magic seal on the chapel door.
No matter how Ange used her power as a Witch of Truth, this couldn't be broken by anyone except the Game Master. However, this time, Battler wasn't the only Game Master.
So sorry, Oni-chan. Burn Castle's a Game Master too. I just need to take this to her and have her break the seal.
Ange slowly approached the altar. Will Ange really do as you say?
This is my little sister we're talking about, so yeah, probably not.
Then what will we do?
Looks like we got nothing to go on but brute force.
At that moment, a fierce impact hit the pair of them. What could it be? Veda was flung away and Battler was sealed inside a massive crystal that extended up to the heavens.
Damn, what the hell is this?
Battler, what is this? It was a barrier, a massive cage of crystal. Battler was shut inside a crystal cage like a tower, so large that you had to look up to see the top.
Veda, I need you to take care of Angie.
What will you do? Can you break free from this all by yourself on the inside? Is this a closed room barrier? Who could have?
There's only one person who challenged me with a closed room. Looks like our final guest has finally arrived.
Yes. You don't mean...
Go and take care of Angie.
Yes. Beata left Battler to handle this on his own and headed for the chapel. Battler took a deep breath and smiled daringly.
I've been waiting for you. It was a boring in that depths of oblivion place.
The answer was a laugh. Yeah, that's right. A laugh is enough.
Looks like you're doing well.
It wasn't boring. After all, I believed.
I bet you did. I believed it too.
Battler flung off the cape of the Territory Lord. It would only get in the way. And it would be a rude way to welcome this final guest. Those dark depths were the perfect place to think up mysteries I could fight you with when we met again.
So this crystal cage is the ring for our duel? A chain deathmatch with nowhere to run?
Now that you mention it, we're always fighting over closures with chains.
Then let's use that. Make it a real chain deathmatch.
I'm prepared, but what about you?
I am? I told you, didn't I? I believe too.
At the same time, they both brandished their mysteries, sealing the other in a chain-closed room.
Come, Fruto Erica!
Entertain me, Bloodless One! At the same time, they were sealed inside a closed room locked with a chain. Of course, it was easy to set and unset the chain from the inside. However, stepping into their opponent's chained room would be difficult. They were fighting to the death with two chain closed rooms at once. There could be no better closed room duel for these two who had battled with theories concerning chained rooms so often.
Fruto Erica committed suicide, died in an accident, died of an illness, died by some reason other than homicide.
It's that machine gun. It wasn't a suicide, it wasn't an accidental death. It wasn't a death by illness. I really was killed by you, Battler-san. It was a murder committed by slipping poison gas through the crack of the door, by filling the room with water and drowning you, by sucking the oxygen out of the room and making you suffocate.
There was no poison gas, there was no drowning, there was no death by suffocation.
A closed room with poison gas, death by drowning, suffocation.
Crazy, right? It's funny, isn't it?
Good! Assure me about committed suicide. He died in an accident. He was killed by an illness. Time for me to test your closed room. We might have messed up the voice a little bit. It's fine. Keep going. Keep going.
I just wanted to stop and listen to this version of this track.
This is Lix Axel.
This is nuts.
This is Lix Axel. This is CTS, I believe, because of course it is.
Red Truth assured me Battle was stabbed to death. Let's say the weapon was a knife stuck right into his back.
Improv closed rooms. What a talented game master this is. Good! Nothing beats a classic closed room.
Then why don't you try it too?
I'll take that challenge with the red truth. Kuda Erica was stabbed to death. The weapon was a knife stuck right in her back.
Interesting. I'll tear your closed room to bits.
It's not hard to fight you, Battler.
Angie?
Yep, Ange.
What's this supposed to be?
Battler is busy at the moment. For now, I shall be your opponent. They had to unseal the chapel with a closed room barrier. Unless that riddle was smashed with blue truth, Ange wouldn't be able to leave. After shrugging impatiently, Ange finally faced Beato.
This might be the first time I've fought you directly.
No, is it now? Very well, let's see what you've got. However, Battler isn't here at the moment. When he's not around, I sometimes forget to hold back.
What a coincidence. I feel the same.
I killed you inside a perfect closed room with windows, doors, and all other methods of entry or exit blocked.
Okay, I'll play along with your game. Repeat it.
Yay!
Man, we are just going nuts.
This is so good.
This is ridiculous.
This is episode 8!
I tell you what, I can see why some people maybe didn't like this.
I don't give a shit.
But I love it.
It's so much fun.
It's just ridiculous.
It's so much fun. It's such a fun fucking episode. And we're not even... Well, we might be 2/3 of the way through in. Maybe.
Maybe. Who knows?
We've still got a while to go is what I'm trying to say.
Woo!
Next episode!